Well folks, welcome back to the workshop. Just a wee modification job on here today. Trend Router Table, brand new. Customer's out and bought this here thing for himself. This here is the CRT MK3 Trend Router Table. A wee metal frame for putting the router on for actually doing different wee bits of work. Heavy duty top and angled legs to make it more secure. You're meant to fit a Trend router onto this thing, but you can't fit a few other ones. He wants to fit the Makita router. This is the RP2303FC, and this does not fit this. So we're going to see if we can modify this plate to take this Makita router. Now you could modify the old router, the 2301. You could modify the plate to fit onto it. So we're going to see if we can do the same with this one. We'll probably have to drill this out. Drill out this aluminium plate to match the screws underneath here. That's what we're going to see if we can do. See if these two will marry up. It looks like he's already damaged this thing already. He hasn't even used it yet, look. And he's cracked. The wooden inserts back here is just MDF or chipboard, but this is cracked. Looks like he hasn't put on the washers on this side, so the threads have come through too far and cracked the laminate this side. Not that big a deal, but just not something you like to see on something that's brand new. And he's done it here, here, and he hasn't done it in this one, luckily. Right, I'll see if we can do this. Hopefully this works now. So these countersunk holes are the ones for fitting, I think it's the Trend or the DeWalt routers. So the router goes underneath the table, and then bolts come down from the top to secure it. So we're going to have to put a few extra ones around here to secure this Makita. To fix it, we're going to screw it on to these 4 screw holes here that holds on the Bakelite plate. So we'll take off this plate and use that as a template. We want to fit it facing this way so you have access to the handle and to the switch at the front of the machine. You don't want to be reaching around. So that puts the flat spot here to the back. So this spot here, the flat end, has to be towards the back. So that puts the controls to the front. We just want to center this up in the center ring, but also make sure it's parallel up here. That looks pretty good. We'll mark these 4 holes now and then take off this plate. Now the countersunk screws on the base are a 4mm. So you have to drill these out to clear an M4. So a 4mm drill bit will do the job. Just put something underneath so we don't go through the bench. And make sure you actually center mark them all so you don't put them off center, because you want this fairly exact. You have to countersink these as well. 4 screws. Just tidy that up as well. Simply because it's for the shop. I don't want somebody getting cut in a burr. So now they will line up to the base. That'll be put on from underneath. So that'll be fitting this way. Just need to have the heads below the surface. Actually go a wee bit more than that. Much better. You just want it nice and flush. That'll do. I'm going to leave this here bakelite plate on because he's buying a new router. You may as well keep this. At least it's on the bottom of the table. You'll know where it is. You won't have to go looking for it. Just put the whole lot on together like this. It's a lot easier to fit the base onto the router now than just lift the router and drop the whole thing in together. And also you don't have to make these holes exactly 4mm. You can go a bit bigger. I'm just doing this here because it's for the shop. I want to just make it nice and exact. But you could drill these out to a 5mm. A little bit of extra play ain't going to do much to it. Gives you a little bit more tolerance to actually locate everything. And they're all countersunk inside anyway, so it's not going to matter all that much. As long as it's secured and all the screws are below the surface, you're good to go. Mounted. It's a lot easier to fit it like that than to have the plate on the table and then try to hold up the router from underneath and line up these screws as well. Very difficult that way. It's just easier to do it like this. Now that's it, all ready to roll. All you have to do now is just plug it in. Plug the router onto the table so it's plugged into the actual start and stop button. This is for starting and stopping or powering on and knocking it off. And the only problem with this setup is the controls on the router table is only good for stopping the machine. You can't power it on with this because this particular Makita does have a lock function to lock the trigger on. But there's also a safety built into it. You can't leave it locked on and then plug the machine on and it automatically start. For obvious reasons, in case you ever left it down with the trigger on and somebody else plugged it on, it doesn't just start gouging out the floor. So this has to be in the actual off position for the motor to start up. So if I switch it on and lock it on and then power on the switch, she does nothing. turns on the LED lights to say it's on, and that's it. To power it on, you have to turn it off. And then turn it off, then power it on. And as well, when you switch it off with the off button here, you lose the brake on it, the auto stop. It just runs on. So if you turn it off by itself, stops a lot faster. The electronic brake kicks in to stop the machine nice and quick. Doesn't work with the stop button. So the stop button will actually cut the power and stop the machine, no problem. It just won't activate the actual brake, and the start button here won't actually start it. This is basically just a primer. So you turn it on to get power to the router, then you actually have to take the switch out of the lock position and then press it in again to get it to run. That's her. Works otherwise perfectly. It's just the M2E functions don't work exactly. The start button just doesn't feed directly into the router. There's a safety built into it. But apart from that, does a good job. Just 4 screws, 4 wee countersinks. You can pop the top back on. You might just need a little bit of a longer countersunk screw, because the little black ones that hold on the little Bakelite plate on the bottom of the router are just a little bit too short. You're not going to get through that and the plate and hold the router on it all at once, so you might need about a 15 or 20 mil countersunk screw for it. But that's it, folks. That's how you mount a Makita RP2303 FC half-inch router to the Trend Router Table, the CRT MK3. You can also fit the older Makita, the 2301 router as well, but the same thing, you just have to drill out the plate and countersunk the holes to stick the router on. But that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Hope that helps somebody out there.